Welcome to another episode of our channel. In this video, we will discuss what future armored vehicles will look like in a world full of drones, anti-tank missiles, and increasingly deadly mines. With the increasingly impressive improvement of drones as anti-tank weapons, as we are seeing in Ukraine, the proliferation of more and more lethal anti-tank missiles and anti-tank mines, many wonder if these steel monsters are really numbered, or if designers are preparing revolutionary vehicles to counter these threats. The history of armored vehicles is a saga of constant innovation, driven by the need to overcome obstacles on the battlefield. It all began in World War I, precisely in 1916, when the terrible trench stalemate led to the development of the first tanks, with the British introducing the Mark I, a heavy machine with tracks to cross trenches and machine guns to suppress enemy fire. These vehicles were basically large, slow steel boxes on tracks, designed to break through defensive lines, impassable for infantry and cavalry of the time. But soon threats like anti-tank guns and mines emerged, which, although seen today as primitive, fulfilled their function. The Germans, after recovering from the surprise, began using anti-tank rifles and artillery to pierce the thin armor of those early monsters. In World War II, armored vehicles evolved at a frightening speed, becoming, besides more protected, also much more agile, fast and lethal. Armored vehicles like the Soviet T-34 introduced sloped armor that deflected kinetic shells. But threats like American bazookas and German Panzerfausts, which used molded shaped charge warheads, forced innovations. These warheads create a superheated plasma jet that penetrates even the largest and most resistant armor. And to counter this, armored vehicles gained additional armor, making them even heavier. However, after the war, RPGs, like the iconic Soviet RPG-7, became an increasingly common presence on the battlefield. These portable rocket-propelled grenade launchers could be used by infantry to destroy tanks from some distance, forcing the adoption of a brilliant solution: explosive reactive armor, or ERA, developed by the Soviet Union in the 1980s. ERA consists of explosive plates that detonate upon impact from a shape-charge warhead, deflecting the plasma jet and reducing its penetration. It was used for the first time on tanks like the T-72 and proved its effectiveness against RPGs in conflicts like the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. But, as expected, the era led designers to innovate again, resulting in tandem warheads with two explosive charges, with the first detonating the era and the second, larger and with more explosives, penetrating the unprotected main armor. And this dance between threats and countermeasures continues to this day. Which leads us, obviously, to the war in Ukraine, where FPV drones armed with anti-tank grenades and missiles like the American Javelin are redefining the battlefield. These cheap, remotely controlled drones carry explosives and can attack specific points of the vehicle, exploiting weak points like the roof, which generally has thinner armor, or hull areas with weakened armor. Some models of anti-tank guided missiles with ranges of kilometers can lock onto the vehicle, with the soldier just having to pull the trigger and flee, with the missile alone describing the trajectory and hitting its target from above. And modern anti-tank mines like the Russian PTM-3 create minefields that immobilize entire formations. Many analysts question whether tanks are obsolete, but the answer is not necessarily, as they are evolving, both technologically and tactically in terms of battlefield usage. A promising solution is active protection systems, or APS, like the trophy used on Israeli Merkava Mark IV armored vehicles. Thanks to radars that cover all angles of the vehicle, the computer calculates the trajectory of projectiles like missiles and RPGs, sending counter-munitions to intercept them in the air, long before they collide with the vehicle. A type of defense that has already proven its value in Gaza, with more than a 90% success rate against RPGs and anti-tank missiles like the Cornet. But what about drones? Anyone following the war in Ukraine knows very well how these small aircraft, controlled from several kilometers away, are devastating vehicles, infantry, and even large, heavy steel monsters. However, they are much slower than missiles and RPGs, making detection easier, but they can attack from vertical angles and from unexpected directions. Steel nets and grills may offer some level of protection, but it takes just one first impact for the system to be compromised, allowing other drones to strike the unprotected vehicle. With designers adapting the trophy and systems like the Russian arena melers to counter attacks from above, including from drones. Active defense systems can be a good solution against drones, but need additional layers to be truly effective. And it is at this point that directed energy weapons like lasers and microwaves come into play, emerging as allies of armored vehicles. Imagine an anti-drone defense vehicle accompanying a formation of tanks closely monitoring the sky for threats. Lasers, like those successfully tested by the American Army on strikers, focus energy to burn drone components in seconds. The dim charade system, for example, uses 50-kilowatt lasers to shoot down drones and missiles. Meanwhile, microwave weapons, like the Epirus Leonidas or the Raytheon phaser, emit pulses that fry the electronic circuits of drones over a wide radius, ideal for taking down entire swarms in the best part, without physical ammunition. These systems are already being installed today on light vehicles, and in the future, the forecast is that they will be integrated into the armored vehicles themselves, providing layered defenses. Armored formations are also beginning to include their own drones for reconnaissance and counterattack, as well as thermal camouflage to avoid detection. In conclusion, armored vehicles will not go extinct. They will adapt as they always have. From the sloped armor of the T-34 to the explosive reactive armor of the T-72, from the active defenses of the Merkava to the lasers of the Striker, history shows that innovation either balances or even overcomes threats. And in Ukraine, we are seeing the living laboratory of this evolution. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and hit the notification bell to not miss any updates.